Alistair Campbell's name popped up not long ago when I suggested on faith, actually, on faith and presumption, rather than actually having the facts at my fingertips, that the idea of Number 10 and Tony Blair's government actually seeking to ban journalists from Downing Street would have been anathema. I'm hoping I didn't speak in vain. Luckily, Alistair Campbell is on the line to double check with. Did I speak correctly or incorrectly?
I think you spoke correctly.
Right.
I mean, whether I ever... I don't think I ever did. And if anything, when we got into difficulty with the Westminster Press, or the lobby as they called, it was when actually I tried to expand it, and I've tried to make the briefings, and eventually we did make the briefings open to foreign media, regional media, and the specialist media as well. And I mean, look, there's no doubt that the press, and I think the political press in particular, can be incredibly frustrating.
Yes.
And difficult to deal with. But if you're Boris Johnson and you're the current government, my God, they get it so easy, it's unbelievable. So,
in what way? Well, I mean, do you simply mean that the majority of the print media leans to the right?
It isn't just that it leans to the right. I mean, they've got, in the election and during Johnson's kind of, rise to the top, he's got, I mean, the Daily Telegraph has become effectively a sort of one-person fanzine.
Yes.
The Express, the Mail, the Sun, the Star, on a bad day, the Times, can pretty much be expected to, push the very pro-Johnson line. And the papers that are aggressively anti, just, I don't think, carry quite the same weight. And that, as I've talked to you before, my thing about the press is less the direct impact upon readers, it's the direct impact upon the broader debate in the broadcast media and online. Because
the agenda is then set, isn't it? And if only the right-wing newspapers are getting access to the government, then even those of us that try to pursue a more centrist path will be relying upon them for the seeds of our conversations and news coverage is saying.
Exactly, and also, but listen, I was pleased that the other journalists, refused to go along with it yesterday, yes. Because this is a strategy. This is what Trump is doing in an even more insidious way. It's what Putin does. It basically is a way of trying to say the only voices worth listening to are the voices in power, and they clearly don't care about they cut the fact that I think his only proper press conference, or if I say proper, his only press conference has been with children.
He does that's not fair. He does Facebook Lives.
Well, I was
with carefully vetted questions.
Facebook Live, and it says things like, do you prefer cats or dogs?
Oh, that's not fair. They asked him what his favourite shampoo was. Come on, Alistair. Well, you of all people know the dangers of spinning. Okay.
So I think that the media... it's very difficult to work out how to handle this if you're from the media. For a start, because the media is, it's just a huge collection of different organisations. They're all competitive, so they're all kind of looking for their own competitive advantage. But this is very much them trying to say to the public, you can't believe anything. There's a book which I recommend to you, written about Russia, called "Nothing is True and Everything is Possible," yes. by a guy called Peter Pomerantsev. And this is a modern strategy in politics, where you try to have sort of legitimate and illegitimate voices. And only the legitimate voices are, if you like, decided by the centre, by the government. And now, of course, in Russia, they can take it absolutely to the extremes of chucking journalists in jail. But it's the same mindset. It's the same mindset that says only what we decide you should think and see and talk about is what we will put out there. And we had this is what's so absurd about the reputation that we developed for old spin and bullying and lying and intimidation, all the stuff that got said, is that I don't believe we did a tenth of 1% even of the things that we got accused of. This lot do it and actually very, very rarely pulled out for it.
What happens next then? Because I mean, worst case scenario would be a proprietor or an editor saying, well, if you're going to walk out, then I'll find someone who isn't.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I mean, I've not really followed it that closely. What's actually happened in terms of what they're going to do? Are they all not going to briefings now, or what?
Well, what happened yesterday was that Lee Kane...
I know what happened yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know that anyone's announced their plans for the future, for the next time, if there is a next time this happens, but I'm speculating on how it ends, because it can't end with a permanent impasse, can it? Or maybe it can. It has in America.
Was there a Downing Street briefing today, which was...
I shall get Theo Usherwood on the line and find out for you.
There you go. I probably don't care as much as you do.
Well, I'm still in the game, Alistair Campbell. It's all right for you.
Next call.
Yeah, well, I'll find out. I know Keir Starmer has written to the Cabinet Office to investigate Number 10's decision, but then, of course, you can have a little scratch and find somebody saying, well, Keir Starmer's banned The Sun from his leadership campaign coverage. Explain why that's different, if you want to.
Has he banned them, or has he just said he wouldn't do an interview with them? I think you'll find.
It'd be impossible to ban them, wouldn't it? Because they can just follow him around. Yeah,
I think I just think that part of the job of being a top-flight politician is to be. It's not the most important part of the job. It's not the biggest part of the job. It's not the thing that they should be obsessing about. Not least because we do have a media that does tend towards self-obsession. But I do think that part of the job of being a top-flight politician is to be exposed to scrutiny from all sides, and it is to develop and have the ability to deal with anything that anybody throws at you. And we brought on, we had the monthly press conferences, which I think Tony Blair cursed me for the whole of his time in Downing Street once we brought those into being. First Prime Minister to go to a select committee. All these sorts of things were actually done as a way to try to improve the level of discourse. If, as it seems to me, this government has taken the decision to try to narrow down that discourse so that it only becomes about who supports you, then I think that is quite a dangerous thing to do.